Whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Hi, I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format.
The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States is available now on Amazon Kindle. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and pick that up right now. Go to Amazon.com and get The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. We're going to discuss the following. It is Random Topic Sundays here on Channel G Boot 2786. Thank you all for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Tonight we'll discuss the following. Principal under fire for assaulting a special needs black child. Should the monarchy pay reparations? And Little Mermaid trailer drops and the anti-woke crowd loses it. All this and more, ladies and gentlemen. I need you also, if you have not, to order you some Creole seasoning from our website as well, Nawny'sCreoleBlends.com. You try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawny's goes great with every dish. Also, you can purchase some of our songs, such as Video Soul, as well as Gotta Get On Up. But before we go ahead and do that, we're going to actually get started, ladies and gentlemen, and play our theme song, as always, which is Gotta Get On Up. Before we get on down, it's important to get on up. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Hit that like, share, and subscribe button as we see that right now. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Let people know we're here. I know I'm going up against some others on YouTube right now, but I still think we can draw a good crowd. And let's go ahead and also please donate and contribute to the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, and Google Pay. As you know, this channel is not monetized. So why don't we go on and get on up, ladies and gentlemen.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the...
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the... Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the... Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll feel the groove. Get on the floor. Get on up. Feel the groove. Cause when the beat is really grooving, start to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on. Baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Oh, feel the groove, get on the floor. We got to get on up. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up, everybody? Welcome, family. Thank you for tuning in. Wherever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. Thank you to my family. I know the Firefox, I think Unsunken One, and Danielle. Shout out to you all in the chat. Were you all on Dana's live just now? I just got off because I had to come and do the live stream tonight. And when Tianki ever comes on, I try to get off of it because I don't like dealing with him up. But he comes on Judge Joe Brown's show, always saying some bullshit. So yeah, he's always said stuff like, "What is white supremacy? Give me an example of white supremacy. What is that?" This nigga only my father, and he don't know what white supremacy is. Come on. We got people like that in our community, but I don't want to make that about him. So let me move on. I want to thank y'all for joining me on the live. I love Dana. I'm grateful for her that she was on there, for inviting me to come on. Shout out to her. Shout out to the other brothers that were on the panel as well. I was surprised to see Judge Joe wasn't on there, but she said Judge was wrapped up in some stuff. So we're not gonna waste too much time. We're just gonna go ahead and get in because I'm actually, for whatever, I'm just dead tired right now, guys, and I would like to get on with this live stream and go in with what is going on. Unsung One says it was hot trash. If we're talking about that Fox Soul thing, we'll get to that in a minute. But right now, I have online, and of course, only 3 of people have voted, and says 6 are watching. But we're doing the live stream now, and we're asking the question: should the monarchy pay reparations? Give me a yes or no. On the actual GBoo 2786 YouTube page, you all can vote. So there has been, since the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, has passed away, there has been trending a lot of things online, especially the topic of reparations. And we can actually see here on Reuters.com, shout out to them, they posted an article says Charles' succession stirs Caribbean's calls for reparations, removal of monarch as head of state. So
Some enthusiasm.
let's see if I can share this video. I don't want them to give me a copyright strike, but this is in the Bahamas. And if you know those islands, especially, we talked about Jamaica. You saw Tariq talking about it. The Bahamas, I think, even if I'm not mistaken, is the Virgin Islands subject. No, Virgin Islands is United States territory. But a lot of islands, especially during the transatlantic, during the slave trade, during the time of exploration when the Britons, although there was exploration before Britain and Europe, obviously, they would ask for, they occupy these islands. Of course, Australia being one big island, countless. I showed you all this picture last time. I don't want to take it away, but I showed a picture basically of all, Canada is still subject to the Queen of England. Even Ireland at one point was subject to the Queen, to the British throne. The Falkland Islands, Tristan da Cunha. Yeah, but the Barbados, Trinidad, yeah, all of that is still, I believe, still under British rule. New Zealand, Australia, Tonga, Fiji. Yeah, all of that's part of that. Jamaica, of course, we know the Turks, and there's the British Virgin Islands. That's correct. British Virgin and American Virgin Islands. But yeah, that's what I was saying too. We'll talk about Cynthia G in a minute, but that's the question. So, claiming fair use, if we can play this video without getting a strike, I would like to do that. If someone would please put the fair use marker up for me. You know, another thing too, I want you to please share this video because there may be some who don't know that I have gone live. But let's go ahead and play this.
Have been able to do it, survive through everything, and I think that they'll be perfectly fine.
I would really prefer William to become king, because he would bring some enthusiasm, some youth to a modern world. And I just think that Charles is tired, and that he's got a lot of negativity with Diana, and also contributions from wealthy folks that are not accountable and all of that.
She was nearly a centenarian, so good on her for her years. She reigned over 70 years. That was cool, but doesn't really mean anything to me. Just let's hope, down with the monarchy, whatever. We don't need kings and queens anymore.
She's everybody's mother. She's one of the most outstanding persons and women in my lifetime.
Excuse me? It's this that got my attention.
She's everybody's mother. She's
what? She's everybody's mother. I heard that. Did we hear that correctly? Yeah, we heard it. Now that's funny because my mother's still alive, and I think she would take exception to that because her mother was Mary Bell Duplessis. My father's mother, God rest her soul, was Rita DeGroot. Everybody's mother. That's the mentality, though. But you see stuff like this where they've had these different people speak. The only one that spoke common sense was the first person who said that we shouldn't be subject to to Britain and have our independence. This person says, this elderly Black woman says that Queen Elizabeth is one of the most outstanding women she's in our lifetime, but also went about and said she was everybody's mother. Please.
One of the most outstanding persons and women in my lifetime. I think he's a little bit too old for the profession, but who am I to judge? I have no say in this matter. What I do like about Charles is that he's always been an environmentalist, and I'm an environmentalist, and I know he will always push for the environment.
And these are the people that say that they helped create hip hop. That's the trend I've been seeing. I haven't commented on this about Jamaica versus foundational Black Americans in hip hop. But this is somebody, this is an elderly person. This is somebody who obviously has been a subject all her life because she said that about the Queen of England, praising her like she was the mother of our lifetime. I thought Mary, the mother of Jesus, was everybody's mother. This ain't my mama. No, ma'am. I can't believe. No, I can believe it, but this is the mentality when you go to. And in fairness, no, I've ever been across the islands? No, but I can just tell by looking at that. That is the type of mentality that we're dealing with here, a slave mindset. They believe that they're subject to something. They don't want their independence. They don't want to be free. But in going with our topic with reparations, there have still been renewed calls from politicians and activists for former colonies in the Caribbean to remove the monarch as their head of state and for Britain to pay slavery reparations. They say Queen Elizabeth, who, of course, she ruled for over 70 years, died on Thursday afternoon. The Prime Minister of Jamaica said his country would mourn Elizabeth for 12 days, and his counterpart in Antigua and Barbuda ordered flags to be half-staffed until the day of her burial. Now, it is not just these. Now, of course, they say in some quarters there are doubts about the role a distant monarch should play in the 21st century. Earlier this year, some Commonwealth leaders expressed unease at a summit in Kigali, Rwanda, about the passions of leadership of the 56 Nation Club from Elizabeth to Charles. And an 8-day tour in March by now heir to the throne Prince William and his wife Kate to Belize, Jamaica, and the Bahamas was marked by calls for reparations. A Bahama national representative by the name of Nyambi Hall Campbell said in a quote, "As the role of the monarchy changes, we expect this can be an opportunity to advance discussions of reparations for our region." Hall Campbell sent condolences to the Queen's family and noted Charles' acknowledgement of the appalling atrocity of slavery at a ceremony last year marking the end of British rule as Barbados became a republic. She said she hopes Charles would lead in a way reflecting the justice required of the times, and the justice is reparatory justice. More than 10 million Africans were shackled into the Atlantic slave trade by European nations between the 15th and 19th centuries. Those who survived the brutal voyage were forced to labor on plantations in the Caribbean and the Americas. So you read this article, there was even someone, an advocate in Jamaica, who were advocating. So it's not everybody on the islands. I think it's everywhere. Even we know it's here in the United States. There are people who have this mindset about whether blacks should not get reparations and so forth. But here, you're subject to one person, the Queen, who is my understanding, it's the I'm sorry, I'm just reading from the comments. But I was just saying, I'm going to talk about, I didn't know about Willie D, but we'll get into that in a little bit. What happened with Willie D? So he said Willie D and his family got death threats over the Queen. Yeah, well, I was just talking about that on Dana's show with Drew about people that speak out against the monarchy on their passing. He says he was talking about, oh, nobody, I'm doing Drew's voice, nobody on a comment on that because, something happens up ending them to him, something bad. I don't want to be forced to take any drives through the tunnels in Paris, if you dig my meaning. But yeah, I mean, today also, we're talking about that, and today is also 9/11. Uh, I'll get to all of that in a minute. I'm trying to go as quickly as fast as I can with this, but in this topic. But it isn't just these island countries as well. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this was also trending here. This is, let me put this up to you. This diamond that you see here, now we know, I showed you the map of the British Empire right there. So you see where Britain had occupied at one time or another all of these islands, all this land, all these countries, especially you see up in Africa, especially Eastern Africa, North Africa, such as Egypt, Sudan, the Uganda and Kenya, the Rhodesia, North and South Rhodesia, Southwest Africa, South Africa, Swaziland. Yeah, all of this was occupied by the Brits. India in particular. Now, I'm bringing all this up because this article, thank you, computer robots. I'm glad to see you doing good. But when you look at this, I want to put this up. This diamond, I want y'all to look at this. Y'all have heard of the crown jewels. This diamond belonged to the South Indian Kakatiya dynasty. It existed, I believe, back in the 12th, 13th century. It's about 105.6 carats, and it's estimated to be worth now, according to some reports, $1 billion. This is on worthy.com. I've heard it fluctuates. Some say it's 250 million and higher, but given the length of time, its value, I'm pretty sure it's much, much higher. But you're talking about $1 billion, roughly. You're talking about a lot of money. And this diamond is in the Queen's crown. The point I'm bringing with all of this stuff, so it weighed 186 carats, and Queen Victoria's husband had it cut down to its precise size in order to increase its brilliance. So the diamond mines that the British occupied and controlled, this that was trending online, and it came up in a Times article. It came up in a Times article. The Indians want this Connaught diamond to be returned. Now, obviously, they ain't gonna get it. But I bring all of this up. It's not just reparations for Africans. It's obviously reparations that they want for all people that have been impacted by the British Empire. Because at some point or another, the British Empire was the strongest force, much like how the United States is today, at one point in the world. Of course, things have changed, times have changed, but that is what exists today. That is a fact of life. So I want to look at the poll, and I'm going to put the article up if you want to read about the diamond. You know, that's a lot of money. But all of the jewels that she has in there, that was, she got from Africa and India. We were just talking about that. The Democratic Republic of Congo. In Rwanda. When I was on Dana's show, she was showing the articles how they had to dig for diamonds. The Cecil Rhodes, the Rhodes Scholar, that's where the term Rhodes Scholar comes from, what they were dealing with. Now, I want to point out something, that on the Queen's death, the economic freedom fighters, they released a statement talking about why, and Tariq Nasheed posted this, about why, and they will not mourn the death of Queen Elizabeth. And like I said, I don't ever celebrate someone's passing in death. That's not how I am. I respect people. I mean, I respect the office, I guess the title of the Queen. However, I don't care for it, or her in particular, because of the history and vitriol that the Queen of England, that the British Empire represents. And what it has represented to people of color, but particular my people, Black people in this country and around the world. And maybe during her lifetime, if she had tried to make some type of repentance or remorse and been more open about it, perhaps there would be more of a sympathy that would come out. It's the same, at least with the Catholic Church, I can say this, that Pope John Paul, starting with John Paul II, and his successors on, they have condemned and had, the role of the Catholic Church in slavery. And they did, I do know that they've spoken out vehemently on racism and the impact it has in the community. However, even though they apologized and said they were wrong for what happened and begged for forgiveness, was there a reparation that was done or repentance enough to compensate for what happened? And to be fair, it wasn't just the Catholic Church that was involved. You had people in the Jewish community that were involved in the slave trade. It wasn't just one religion. Of course, this was a large institution, the bigger institution than individual Jews. You also had, in the sub-Saharan slave trade, Islam, Muslims that traded Black Africans in slavery. So it's always been there. But these people, this is a response to what they've gone through in this country for years. And they are frustrated, especially the role that Britain played in colonialism. You see, we had this aspect of slavery was one thing, but the colonialism was a whole nother matter that in fact caused and did more damage to African nations, to the African people, respectively, in their own countries. So I'm going to wrap up on this topic, but you all can just, and you're just reading it right there, what the EFF, through their spokesperson, and I want to say the national spokesperson was Sinawo Tombo, is what they wrote. So shout out to them. Speaking of Tariq, he had this video, and hit that like, share, and subscribe button, family. We're going to go into our next topic. This principal that is under fire for assaulting a special needs Black child. Cynthia G accepted the money. Okay, for that wig. Yeah, I know Cynthia G and Tariq have gone at it before, but Tariq had this up.
Shoved a student with special needs in June.
This happened out, I believe, this is in California. This is in Fresno. A guy by the name of Brian Volhart, who is the principal of Walters Elementary, assaulted a special needs child, 10 years old, and it was caught on camera. So we're going to go to, I believe this is ABC News. This is their courtesy. Let's hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But let's also ask for the copyright disclaimer. It's fair use, it's news. But let's look into this because we see all of these things, videos that are common where they're putting their hands on children now. But I want to play the whole video.
The boy's guardian, Anne Frank, says Volhart called her and said the 10-year-old assaulted him and she should come pick up the boy. Almost immediately, the boy told Miss Frank it was the principal who was violent and knocked him to the ground. Took 3 months before Fresno Unified shared this video with Miss Frank, and she saw exactly what happened.
You cannot put force to these kids like that. My son is autistic. And any parent seeing this video, they know what I'm feeling right now. My son was pushed with force by this principal who was supposed to protect him.
Fresno Unified put Volhart on administrative leave within a couple days, and he resigned during the investigation. Superintendent Bob Nelson called Volhart's behavior repugnant, and he said the video could be triggering, especially for the African-American community seeing a white principal shoving a Black 10-year-old boy.
While there's been zero information to lead us to believe that this was a racially motivated altercation, we are not blind to the fact that racial dynamics are always present.
Ms. Frank didn't blame the incident on racism, but she said Volhart frequently bullied her boy.
It looks like I just want to point this out. The boy is special needs, but she apparently has, looks like she's handicapped herself. She appears to be elderly. Is this her son? They say this is her son, but they say this is his guardian. When you listen to the news, they announced her as the guardian.
And tried to provoke him. The district is offering resources for students, families, and teachers who are bothered by what they saw. They also notified the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing about Volhart's behavior.
And we don't believe that any K-12 district should tolerate this kind of behavior. However, we don't make that decision for other districts. The state does.
Golden Plains Unified made the decision to hire Volhart as a Tranquility High School vice principal shortly after he left Fresno Unified. CTC's website shows Volhart has an active certificate and no adverse reports. He even has a specialized certification for handling students with autism.
He don't deserve to work in anybody else's school if he's working in one. He don't need to handle nobody else's kids. Who's to say how many other kids that he have done this to?
Volhart hung up when I called him and identified myself as an ABC 30 reporter, but he has talked to police about the incident. An arrest warrant affidavit shows he said the boy was yelling and getting in his face. Volhart said the boy made fists and pressed them against the principal, which...
All right. I actually got an update, so that was the end of the video. But we got an update on this. Yeah, that story that's bullshit, obviously, from what we saw on the camera. But as we look here, there's an update to this story, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, this officer, as of this morning, was arrested in regards and charged with assault. Apparently, he's going to appear in court later this month. So he's been charged with a single misdemeanor count of child abuse in connection with the June 7th incident that was caught on camera. He's set to appear in court this month. Fresno Unified officials have said the student is physically okay and received the necessary social and emotional supports from the district. So he's basically saying this kid threatened him and the kid has special needs. See, here's the thing I know, especially being as an attorney with kids with special needs, the faculty, especially the principal, they might have to be aware of that child's conditions that have been brought forth by the parents. They usually bring that up to them privately, and they know if this person has special needs, then accommodations are made for them. Good to see you, Black Mama. Finally, good to see you. Y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Shout out to Black Mama. I hadn't seen you in ages. You're a sight for sore eyes. But let's play this video, this next video I have. This is from Fresno B.
Joined a small group of students having their breakfast. Our former principal, Brian Volhart, and a couple of staff members were working with an upset student. That instead of de-escalating the situation, which is what we'd expect of an educator in our system, the former principal chooses to aggressively shove the student down instead. First, I need to share that the student involved is physically okay at current and has been provided with the necessary social emotional supports since this incident was reported. But second, let me be very clear, unequivocal on this matter. There's no excuse for repugnant behavior such as this. As soon as the district was made aware of this incident, the following afternoon on June 8th, Mr. Volhart was placed on administrative leave and we launched an investigation. The following morning, on June 9th, Human Resources reported this incident both to the Fresno Police Department as well as Child Protective Services. Following that investigation, the district initiated disciplinary processes against Mr. Volhart, during which time Mr. Volhart resigned. He is no longer an employee of the Fresno Unified School District. It's important to note that we also reported this matter to all necessary state agencies.
I found out about the incident 2 days ago at about 3 p.m. on Tuesday when I was made aware of the incident. By about 3:45, I had access to the video, which was very disappointing. It was shocking to me. I can tell you that as a police chief in this community, I have a real problem as to the way that this child was treated. We have since gone back and looked at our process on how these types of cases are handled. And I, as police chief, want to be notified anytime there's an assault that this serious occurred in any one of our schools. That didn't happen in this case.
So he was fired. Well, he resigned, they say, but essentially, I think they gave him an ultimatum. You either resign or you're fired. Either way, you got to go. So he has been charged with child abuse.
The chief is to reiterate what he said previously about issues with social media threats. Students, I need you to understand, unequivocally and very seriously,
all of these terrorist threats are prosecuted.
So I'm glad that that happened. But he was allowed to resign only 2 months later, so he was placed on leave, which that in and of itself doesn't surprise me. They usually do that whenever they're investigating a situation, an allegation, like they do with police officers, they'll place them on leave. But why did it take 2 months? And it says here he was hired 11 days on, it says he was hired 11 days later as the vice principal of Tranquility High School at a salary of $104,134. Golden Plains Superintendent Martin Messias told the Ed Lab on Friday. But those were the only questions Messias was willing to discuss directly. So I don't see how long he has been with this school, but I'm pretty sure, this is just me, and I'm guessing that that's not his first rodeo. Now, as a general rule, as a lawyer, y'all know I say presumption of innocence, but we saw what was on the videotape, and there was no doubt he pushed and put his hands on this kid. But he did it to someone that had special needs, which made it even worse, which is why they probably called it a child abuse instead of instead of batter. I don't know what the laws are in California, but instead of just a simple assault or simple battery, because it involved a minor, I'm sure they upped the charges so it could be a little more severe. But if it's a misdemeanor, misdemeanor is not the same, obviously, as a felony where you're going to do hard labor. All right. So hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all are blessed and doing safe. We're going to hit this live and subscribe, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. Scratch record. We got to have some black businessmen, people that want to advertise with our business. People that want to advertise on our channel and promote your business, you can do. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We're gonna keep monitoring that story, what happens later. But yeah, that was fucked up. Next topic we're gonna talk about, guys. Okay, so let's talk about Cynthia G and Hope and you all, and Juan B and Umar Johnson. So you all, if you were tuning into my live stream that I did with Dana and her panel, we were talking about this and basically how Cynthia G and this Hope person, you'll understand why I say Hope person in a minute, were talking about black men and basically came at as a negative. Now, it was on the Fox Soul network. And if you know anything about Fox Soul, that is a streaming service that they have here on YouTube. But it's really even though it's Fox Soul and it's marketed towards African Americans, Fox Soul, just like any other subsidiary of Fox, of course, is not owned by Black Americans. Just like BET is not owned by blacks. Soul Train is not owned by blacks. I believe Soul Train is owned by BET, but subsequently, Viacom, CBS owns BET. I think TV1 is black owned with Kathy Hughes, but I believe they may have whites on their board now. It's like Motown is no longer owned by blacks. I've talked about that for years. TV1's been around since January of 2004, so 18 years. At one point, I used to watch TV1 at one point or another. It's not the same. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. But we're going to play a little bit of it. But Dwan B, Danielle asks, when do we plan on doing the drive for the people in Jackson? I'll address that in a little later, but I will talk about that. Yeah, she has said that, and Dana brought that up to me. And I think Umar had asked that question at the end. I haven't seen the whole video, but I want to play a little bit of it. But you should even look at the comments, because the comments are even worse. This is on Black News Today, but the women supporting this shit, that support what this woman is saying. Now, I'm going to play part of what she says. I'm going to play part of what they say, but this is where and it's a 50-minute conversation, but this is where it goes south.
Drugs, breaking the law, running in gangs, killing one another, but the government intervened and aided them. The reason black male pathology is still going on 30, 40, 50 years later is there has been no resolution, there have been no solutions, and there have been no governmental intervention. With that being said, I'm not waiting on the government to solve the problems of black men. We as black men have to unite, come together, organize, and solve our own problems. Just because we can admit that the government introduced pathology into the black community, we can still take full responsibility for ending it ourselves.
Hope, I see you nodding.
Yes, because I feel like when you can name all of these things so eloquently and so beautifully, and yet y'all still fail at being able to do these things after years and years and years and years and years of trying.
Well, you tried as a man and couldn't do it. That's the pot calling the kettle black. This is another thing. I didn't want to go there, but I didn't even know this part exists. I didn't play. When I was listening to Dana's show, I was listening to parts of it, and where she started was, I believe, a little bit after this. But basically, the way that they set it up on Fox Soul, they will have 2 against 2. So they had Dwan and Umar on one side, and Cynthia G and this Hope person on the other. And they made them battle it out. They set this whole thing up, and Tammy Mack narrates. But if you look at the video, yes, this is a man. This is a retired man that now identifies as a woman. That's bad-mouthing men.
Where do we find a new solution? Because you can't talk to each other. If the old men are scared of these new boys because they're a lot wilder than y'all were, because they're a lot more buck than y'all were, what ends up happening is I see that a lot of y'all see these young boys, and instead of addressing them, y'all are afraid of them, and so you walk away and say, well, that's their generation's problem. And it can't just be that generation's problem. Like Sin has been continuously saying, if I have to just answer the question with a yes or no, my answer is no, because the war that we're fighting for black men is the one that black men are fighting within themselves. Is it about adjacency to whiteness? Is it about being able to assimilate to that white hand? Or is it really about the freedom of black men and the black family and the black community?
I like that question a lot, Hope. I want to hang on to that question. Dwan, if there is a war against black men, what exactly is the war?
The war is to disenfranchise black men economically, because when you destabilize us economically, everything else is going to fall. We can take this back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in which Maslow didn't come up with, but that's who gets credit for it. When you take away food, clothing, and shelter, everything on top is going to crumble. That's just human science. And what I'm hearing right now are people that are saying, ignore the science, ignore it's been proven for thousands of years.
Who's ignoring the science on that panel?
I don't care that everyone else has done it when they were in the same economic situation. I don't care the fact that black men don't do this when they're sort of stable. Let's ignore all of that stuff and let's just go back to what black men need to be doing. When you take away the bottom need of the pyramid, everything else is going to crumble. And with that being done, it's still only a few of us crumbling. It's a whole lot of us winning too.
I agree with that. I want to go ahead, Hope.
I was going to say, but it's at the expense of the Black families that y'all claim to care so much about. I think that what we fail to realize is that when the Black men who do have that platform that are not doing those things get on, the last thing that they're thinking about is the Black adjacency to their family. They want to assimilate to whatever whiteness, whatever white male privilege they get. And that's a large part of the problem. We see this happen when we look at social media, where we're seeing Black men publicly proclaim the idea of loving on everything but a Black woman, wanting to have children because their eyes and their hair are going to be looser and more exotic looking. You do not see that as much in the influx of Black women as you do in Black men. So when y'all do get on, then it should be the responsibility of y'all, if y'all really care about this upholding of the Black family, to then come back to the Black communities that you come from and create those Black families and show people.
Dr. Umar, you welcomed us to the show by saying Black power, okay. Is there some truth to the assimilation that Black men want or perceive to want when it comes to this war being waged against you?
Well, there's definitely some truth to it, but I think that truth is also evident in Black women. Black men, many of them may choose to want a white woman, but many Black women choose to look like white women. So we have to look at ourselves, and we have to recognize that the pathology is not more of one gender than the other. That's the issue I have with conversations that seek to see who is more at fault, the Black man or the Black woman. It's not about who's more at fault. We rise together or we will perish together. The Black man cannot survive without his woman, and the Black woman cannot survive without her man. And the issue that I take with my two sisters' narrative is I hear a lot of criticism. I hear a lot of condemnation, but I don't hear any empowerment. I don't hear any solutions coming from either one of them. It appears as if that there is a hatred towards Black men about those sisters. Even when they said, why are we going back to 1960? Let's stay in 2022. That is so immature and irresponsible of a statement. As a psychologist, when a client comes into my office, the first thing I perform is a history on their depression, a history on their suicide, a history on their anxiety.
I'm a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I'm a descendant of James Evans Sr. I'm a descendant of Fred G. Sanford.
When you go see the medical doctor, he performs a history. When you go buy a home, they perform a history. When you go purchase an automobile, they perform a history on that automobile. But when we talk about the problems that affect Black males, we're supposed to look at it in a vacuum. We're not supposed to put it in a historical context. And with that being said, the language and the narrative that's coming out of the mouth of these two beautiful Black women is one that I think the white power structure would endorse, because it totally absolves them of any responsibility for the hell Black men catch in this country.
Cynthia G, you did say, why are we going all the way back to 1960? There is some truth to history when it comes to evaluating anything or anyone. So what do you say to that? I hold that thought, because I only got about 30 seconds here, so I don't want you to get into it, because I know you're going to get into it good, sis, and then have to come right back out of it, you understand? So just make sure you understand the question at hand, which is about a person's history, in this particular case, Black men's history in America, and why it doesn't matter when it comes to the war being waged against them. We'll talk about that and more when we return on The Business of Being Black with Tammy Mack on Fox Soul. Oh, we'll be back. Welcome back to Business of Being Black with Tammy Mack. I am Tammy Mack, and the business of being Black today is Black men. Is there a war being waged against them? We left off with Dr. Umar talking about how history matters when it comes to the contextual matters of Black men having wars waged against them, a war waged against them. So Cynthia G, what do you say to historical context?
I say we should go to the historical context, because what I have not heard from Dr. Umar Johnson, or I think his name is Dwayne. Duane is what I have not heard as they're mentioning all of the things that was done to them. I haven't heard what you did in response to it. So I would like to know, what did you do in response in history, other than go to the Supreme Court and petition to have access to the men's women that you're complaining and accusing of disenfranchising you?
What is this heifer saying? We went to petition the Supreme Court so we could sleep with white women? That's the motivation? That's what you're thinking is? So Thurgood Marshall fought Brown versus Board of Education because he was hoping one day he could marry a white woman? Nat Turner fought the abolition of slavery, gave his life so he could sleep with a white woman? That's what you're saying? Her wig, her, I think her extensions are too tight in that weave. A bunch of all that horse hair. Talking about white women, you got your hair straight, looking like Mr. Ed died on your head. It's just a horse is a horse, of course. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. And no, I ain't gonna hold back because you're attacking brothers on national TV. Well, excuse me, on YouTube. You know, something psychologically has got to be wrong. And this is what Fox Soul does. They did it with when brother Kevin Samuels died. Now, I didn't agree with everything Kevin Samuels said, but when you had Vivica A. Fox say that his death was his karma. I'm paraphrasing, but that was the notion that she did. And your face looked like a Thanksgiving Day turkey. You've had so many carves and you had so many North's carves on that face, trying to straighten up everything, trying to make it back in Hollywood. Oh, you ain't making no comeback in Hollywood. Give me a break. They attacked Ice Cube. Yeah, they do this. I'll never forget when they came at Angela Stanton King. And she gave all three of them sissies that work that was on that panel.
See, because in the 1960s, what Black men were really doing, and that it has been documented, many civil rights leaders have admitted to it, what Black men were doing is chasing the white man's woman, trying to so-called stick it to him by way of going to their women. What you should have been doing is trying to get liberation for yourself. What you should have been trying to do is get that foot off your neck. But see, the foot is not on your neck. And the only time you recognize it being on your neck is when you want to get away with doing something that you think white men are getting away with doing. Because let's just be real. Whenever we hear about this war against Black men, it's usually being brought up when there's a Black man like R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, we see Trey Songz going through it, Ari Spears, when they engage in some degeneracy, and then they're getting a consequence for it. And Black men think that because they perceive white men to be getting away with crimes, they want to be able to get away with crimes as well. The reality is, Dr. Umar can sit up here and list all the different ways that the system is disenfranchising Black men and Black men in a victim vote. But the reality is, what he cannot tell you is what Black men did in response to it, because they did nothing. They laid down and they nested under the skirt of their non-Black preferences, and only to complain that whenever they commit a crime, they're not getting off like they did.
So let's find out. Dr. Umar, what have Black men done?
Well, number one, again, I think that it is such a shame coming from a psychological perspective that we seek to heal our wounds as a people by relying on unprofessional testimony by individuals who have a vendetta against the opposite gender in their community. When you hear Sister Cynthia speak, you can hear a hurt and a pain and a hatred towards Black men. We cannot find an effective solution to Black male-female relationship issues or the oppression of Black men or Black women when the people at the table having the conversation have negative emotional and pathological interests in the conversation that are not.
Umar, the question wasn't about my emotional state. The question was, what did Black men do in response to their disenfranchisement? Yeah, because you're trying to pathologize my emotional state, not knowing that I'm a psychologist too. But what you're not doing is telling us what Black men did.
I believe he'll get there, Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar.
And I'll end it quickly, Sister Tammy. According to Mrs. Cynthia G., Dr. King was assassinated because he was doing nothing. Malcolm X was assassinated because he was doing nothing. Medgar Evers was assassinated because he was doing nothing. Fred Hampton was assassinated because he was doing nothing. That narrative that Black men have done nothing to fight back against systemic oppression, not only against ourselves, but against our women, our children, our elders, and our community is absolutely ridiculous. The cemetery is filled with Black men, names we know and names we don't know, who gave their life for the freedom, liberation, and emancipation of African people. How can you disrespect the history of so many Black men, past and present, who continue to fight? I'm sitting in a school right now that we built with all Black money, 4 buildings that we're going to educate Black men in. It's not easy to solve our problems because there's always Black people in your very same community who's fighting against what you're trying to do to help it. But in addition to that, the white power structure is always waving its wand of oppression to try to sabotage anything we do. I think that the analysis of our women is too overly simplistic, and in being such, it is dishonest.
They've done so much. You've only listed names and not accomplishments, though.
I can list some accomplishments. Okay, when it comes down to it, what have Black men done since the 60s? We turned around and we've gotten, we're still inventing things. We still open up businesses. Here in LA, you got Black businesses all around town. It's just that when we open these businesses up, you have a city that these Black businesses suddenly catch on fire. You have issues when it comes down to what's going on right now with one of my cousins and these abatement laws, who's built plenty of properties here in LA, managing it, but because there was some gang activity down the street, a nuisance abatement is about to get all of his properties taken. So when Black men do build things, and we build things on individual basis, you're not going to see an NBC special about what the great Black man built. When Irv Gotti, Suge Knight, and J. Prince tried to put together a distribution, they all got charges the next week. So it's not like we don't build things. When we do build things, something always ends up seeming to happening. And in spite of that, you've seen the most Black business male ownership that's gone up in the last 60 years since the coronavirus. We still doing it. I personally got 3 businesses, so I don't know what you're talking about. I employ young Black men. I've helped thousands of Black children here in South Central LA. So all this Black men ain't doing nothing. Where are you kicking it at?
So how are Black men creating all these businesses and still costing the government $50 billion a year?
Hold that thought. I want to get Hope in here real quick, Dr. Umar. I want to get Hope in here because Dr. Umar listed a plethora of Black men that we know, and I'm assuming he listed the ones that we know so that we can identify and all agree that these Black men have done something in terms of the fight for equality in America. How do you feel about those men that he listed, Hope? Have they done anything for the Black community or not?
Most definitely, I would be ignorant to say that they haven't, right? But I think that what we're failing to realize is that when we have this conversation about what Black men have done, the consequences are usually because of white supremacy and the gaze of white folks on us are that the Black men are then taken away and the Black women have to then sustain those things. To say that Black women are unappreciative of that, it would be, I think that is the dishonesty, right? The way that Black women show up for the Black community and the Black families, regardless of how we feel about the Black men that we might be interacting with or the Black men that are doing bad things, while still staying here to cultivate the Black men who are, is, I mean, to overlook that to me is just dishonest. The idea that y'all, a lot of you all were raised by grandma and auntie them and all of these amazing Black women.
Right there, you're engaging in a stereotype because all Black men were not raised by their grandmothers and mothers. I was raised by my mother and my father. I came from a married home. I came from from stability. What you are espousing is complete horse shit.
Men that are in community and share space with you and share space with your children, that's being looked over. But also, this isn't, Dr. Umar, you're right. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that you said, but you're absolutely right. It's not about the idea of who's doing it better or trying to, the pissing match of the oppression Olympus of
a free event, and please register for my.
But also, I want to bring attention.
Yes, indeed. One of the problems
let's figure out how to pull everybody into that fold instead of defending
Hold on,
a
fast
narrative
forward.
that you don't even conform to. Why are you so upset?
When I always hear,
You
like,
don't conform.
when Duan, when you were talking
That's
about
too
the
easy.
government subsidies that Black women have, it always makes me think about the movie Claudine with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones, and you know him being the trash man and having to hide him in the closet when the people came. So I do believe that it definitely was a setup for a letdown in the Black community. Dr. Umar?
Yes, indeed. One of the problems with the conversation, not with you, Tammy, but the responses, they're so individualized. Nothing is being evaluated from a group perspective or a community perspective or a systems perspective or an institutional perspective. The bottom line is anything Black men want to do to liberate ourselves or our community, we can't do it without our women. And anything our women want to do to liberate themselves or the community, they can't do it without the men. It is not a competition. It should be a collaboration. But once again, some of us in the conversation are so filled with hatred for the opposite gender that we can never get around to talking about solutions. And in speaking of clips, Sister Tammy, there is one clip you might want to ask Sister Cynthia about because it was sent to me by about 30 people several months ago, maybe even weeks, where she suggested that women, Black women, should abort their Black male fetuses because after birth, they would not contribute to anything worthwhile in the Black community. Could you ask her to clarify her comments?
I would love to.
Women,
Well,
Black
I would
women
love to too,
needing
but we don't
abort?
have time. So Dr. Umar, what
Of
I need
course
you to
she
do
won't.
is tell us what you're working on so we can be a part of it.
Yes, indeed. This Saturday
That's
will be the
disgusting.
second annual Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey RBG Family Festival right here at 601 East 17th Street, Wilmington, Delaware. All free. Come out. We are looking forward to seeing everybody. Go to fdmgfestival.com to register for the free event. And please register for my new online video platform, www.drumar.tv. That's www.drumar.tv. And parents who need help with their children, special education, ADHD, psychiatric medication, IEP, autism, learning disability, reach out to me, 215-989-9858.
Dewan, please tell us about your book, Tell It Like It Is.
Tell it like it is, the art of loving communication. We can talk all day about bringing the Black family together, but we're not going to have the Black family together until the Black family know how to talk to each other.
And where can we get the book? On Amazon?
We can get it at my website, breakthroughas.org.
Got it. Hope, please talk to me. Talk to me, sis.
So right now I have my book, Until I Met Black Men, available on Amazon or wherever books are sold. But also I want to bring attention back to Brittany Griner. She is still out there, and we have Black Feminist Future that you can follow on all platforms, including Instagram, that are helping to make sure that our sister gets home, because that's a huge thing right now that we're not talking about and that we're not discussing in the same way that we discuss when Black men are going through some of the same things.
Now, because this show is about the war waged against Black men, Until I Met Black Men, is that a good thing?
It's a great thing. It talks about what a lot of people thought the book was going to be was a read towards all the Black men that I met in my life, but what it really
But it is not. Right?
It is not.
All right. Cynthia G, tell me about the content of your YouTube channel.
Well, if anyone really wants to know about why selective breeding will be the best thing for our community, then they can come to my channel where I explain that, as I also talk about the dynamic between Black men and Black women, and Black women's need to have standards, expectations, and boundaries when dealing, especially with Black men, but any man in general, and open up your options too. Put you first. Stop thinking about Black men.
Okay. And I'm gonna be thinking about my Black man, Cynthia, because homie is all of that and then some. So I'm thinking right now. As a matter of fact, this show is over because I'm about to go think up on something.
I can't join you at that one.
Why that is kept, so am I. But
that's
I still
Did she get the Dwan?
Black women.
Say what's wrong with Black people? That's the government's tricks going on like it's all.
So she didn't even get to Dwan. I don't think she let Dwan explain what he had going on.
Because I'm about to go think up on something.
I can't join you at that one.
Why that is kept, so am I. But I still feel how I feel.
This was a disgrace. Okay. Selective breeding. That's what she said. She said it. That's disgusting. Yeah, right out of Hitler's, yes, right out of Hitler's book. I don't need to say no more. Y'all saw how filthy this is. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But you know, that's a disgrace for a black woman. And Umar, and say what you want. And I've heard people when I was on Dana's show talking about the book, the school, and so forth. This ain't about the school. He's not on there talking about the school. I have my issues with him, yeah, but we're talking about with this subject. There certainly is a war on black men, and Fox Soul shitted on him again. This is all set up. This is what they do. Y'all like what we've been talking about tonight? Please donate to the Cash App, PayPal, and Zelle. You see the ticker at the bottom. I love you support. Last thing I want to talk about, we're going to get out of here. I'm not going to be too long with this, but did y'all see the Little Mermaid trailer that dropped? Now, I'm an 80s baby, so the little Disney was a part of my childhood just like everybody else. Cynthia has a son. Well, she hates her own son. Or she's raising her son to be, she might be raising, I don't know anything about her personal life, but she may be raising her son to be a girl. But what is it that what message are you sending? This is my last thing on it. What message are you sending to your black boy when you're disrespecting black men the way that you are with the vitriol that you are using? What does it say about your father? What does it say about your brother, your uncles, your nephew, everybody, any male that's in your family, your cousins, everybody that's done something, you're shitting on them. But I want to talk about this. This video, this Little Mermaid trailer that came out from Disney. We got our first look at it's Haley Bailey, who is playing the titular character Ariel from the Little Mermaid. Now, if you go on, I don't want to play the trailer because then Disney does these copyright strikes and so forth. So I don't really want to play it, but I can play. So this is Chloe. I can show you her as the mermaid. So I'll just put a picture of it. This frame up. So this is Chloe as the Little Mermaid. Now, look how many likes to dislikes this trailer has gotten. And basically what they do, they are bomb reviewing it and this does happen where there are some that are legit, but there are some obviously who don't like this because they made Ariel, well, y'all can put it together why they don't like it. Ariel has a tan. And you can see all of these. The part where Ariel says it's merman time sent chills down my spine. Just stunning. Absolutely. The part where Ariel says we're going to need a bigger boat. It's truly one of the most emotional scenes in movie history. The part where Ursula says the ring has awoken. It's heard its master's call. It's truly one of the most emotional scenes in movie. They couldn't even finish it. But this is what they do. They obviously don't like the fact that a black girl is playing this character. Now, me personally, I don't care which way butts about it. I don't wish anything negative against the sister. She's multi-talented. I think that she's multi-talented. I think that she certainly can sing. But some people, Unsung says, let them have their crap. Oh, she's got the dreadlocks. Yeah. And they have Sebastian in it, but the guy who originally played Sebastian, who did the singing, he's deceased. He just died not too long ago. So it's not really going to be the same. Under the sea, under the sea. I remember that as a kid. Ariel. My favorite part is when Chef Louis and Sebastian get into it in the kitchen. Unsung one says, "Let them have their crap." I say tough shit. They just gotta eat. What? They're that mad over a fictional character being black. I didn't think. I mean, I thought it was fun. I'm support the girl. I hope she does more. But Disney, they've been doing a lot of these live action releases. Remember, they did Aladdin with Will Smith as the genie, which I didn't think was gonna work because Robin Williams to me is the genie. But all of their cartoons, they did Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella. All of their cartoons are getting reworked. So it's not a surprise that this is happening. But I think they're taken aback by uh, Ariel being black now. I wonder how it's going to work because Javier Bardem is playing the King Triton. So the graphics look great on the film. I might have to do a review of it. But 1 million dislikes to 296,000 likes. And what's interesting too, Jodie Benson, who played the original Ariel in the 1989 movie, she's defended Haley Bailey's casting. And they're claiming they're dragging her because the way she sings Under the Sea isn't like Jodie Benson. Well, she's not Jodie Benson. But apparently she's reacted to the live action version.
Where the people are. While the people are watching the teaser trailer for the live action version of Little Mermaid, which has racked up over 5 million views in less than 24 hours on Disney's YouTube page.
Out of the sea. Right there.
After director Rob Marshall and Halle Bailey were on hand at D23 Expo to unveil the teaser, it was posted on YouTube, and it's currently the #2 trending video.
Wish I could be.
One of the individuals who didn't have to rush to YouTube to see the teaser when it was released last night was Jodie Benson, who voiced Ariel in the 1989 animated version.
No, the prince is not black.
Jodie got an advance peek at the teaser and shared her thoughts on her Instagram story
And
once it was released. So beautiful, absolutely thrilled to see the trailer and sneak peek at D23 today and cheer for Robbie, director Rob Marshall, and Halle on stage. Congratulations, much love to all the creative team, cast, and crew. And yeah, Jodie is also at D23 this year, still doing autograph sessions for a character she voiced 33 years ago.
Hey friends, it's Jodie Benson at D23. Can't wait to see you at Loungefly today at 2:30.
So that's the original Ariel. But I got to say this. So this was trending too. People were upset because, even black people, because the Little Mermaid does not have a black prince. So I heard some blacks were complaining about it because Prince Eric is not black. I heard somewhat, my lady was telling me about this. Now, All right. Got news from you computer robots? No. This is your Prince Eric. That's him. Just look at the cast of The Little Mermaid. Halle Bailey, Jonah Hurricane, Melissa McCarthy's playing Ursula. That's a nice one. Awkwafina is playing Scuttle the Bird. Diva Diggs is playing Sebastian. Ooh, Ariel. And Javier Bardem is the king. King Triton. I mean, certainly she doesn't deserve the racist tirade from the trolls that she's getting. You know, and I wish the sister much love and support. But I wish that they could have a black prince. Yes. When boy, need to see a black prince or black king in these Disney cartoon movies. It would be great to have. But neither here nor there. Yeah, the women got to be a part of it. Y'all say y'all can't hear me? All right, we're going to get out of here. We're going to wrap this up. I'm going to thank you all for tuning in. Please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal. Thank you. Support. I want to go back to our votes. I have 17 people who voted that unanimously, it's unanimous, that the United Kingdom should pay, the monarchy should pay reparations. Yes. You're right, Danielle. They will not show black heterosexual love, but we ought to do it here. This is what we're here for. I want to build for a black production company and do things. Money is what makes the world go round. You know, they used to say love, but that's emotion talking. Money is what gets things done at the end of the day. And if you don't have it, unfortunately, then you're nowhere. You're going nowhere. You got to build. So I'm trying every day with the work that I'm doing to build that. And I'm not giving up. So I need you to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Please donate to the channel through the Cash App, PayPal, Google Pay, or Zelle. Shout out to Black Mama. It was good to see you here. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, if you like to advertise, you email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com. Join our Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. Order some Creole seasoning. It's never too late to get some Nonny's Creole blends. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nonny's goes great with every dish. Subscribe to the Bill Cosby page and purchase the cover of the Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. That is available on Kindle, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's go on and get out of here, guys. I've been in front of the computer too long. I am tired. I must retire right now. So I got to do some stuff and get ready for stuff tomorrow. But I want to thank you all. Okay, it's always a pleasure to come on and talk. Yeah, Unsunken One, you were muted. That's exactly what it was. All right, thank you. That being said, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace and blessings.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the... Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on Earth, Wind, and Fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe, then you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.